Yo, fam. Jesse here, Golden Crust, going to be hosting this week's Aavegotchi Spaces, and today's going to be a really good one. We're dedicating the next hour to exploring the explosion of NFTs on Polygon. We're going to hopefully hear from some of the best and most exciting projects that are bringing that energy to Polygon. I'm looking at you guys, Utes, and maybe a few others that Magic Eden might know about. So we're going to be hearing from friends from Magic Eden, Utes crew, and maybe a few surprises along the way. And of course, I'm riding shotgun with No Futuristic. No Futuristic, good morning, good morning.
Pew, pew. What's up, friends?
I'm also pulling Hefe on stage, our other co-host, Hefe, the project manager, or maybe Hefe, you've got a new title now, but anyway, one of the most active running things over at the Aavegotchi DAO. So Hefe, welcome back.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me all right?
Nice and clear. Your directional mic is working well.
Oh, actually, I'm not at a directional mic today. I'm actually in the middle of, well, we were painting my old apartment today. So it's my first apartment paint job, it seems to be going well. And so I'm kind of channeling my inner artist here today. And so I might sound a little bit echoey, but I'm hoping I sound okay. Yeah.
You're clear, but now that you say something, I can hear the lack of furniture, like the emptiness of the room.
I need to know,
like
what color are you painting the walls in this room? Are you going for like Aavegotchi colors, like purple and the white with a little blue, pinks, or is it just like a little more mundane?
Oh man, I would love to go with some crazy alchemical Aavegotchi colors, but I have to go with a kind of neutral color that matches the rest of the wall because the reality of this whole situation is it was a small repair job gone wrong, and so now I have to paint the whole wall and the adjacent walls. So it's just a cover up is really what it is. I'm trying to move out of here with a nice clean apartment, leaving it the way I came to it. So that's all it is.
Right on. Well, cool. We'll do a little housekeeping here as people file in. We've got some announcements on the Aavegotchi side, and then we'll get into the topic of the day. Just should be aware, the season 5 of rarity farming has begun in earnest. It kind of just happened. And so this is the 5th time that we've done what we call rarity farming for Aavegotchi. And so literally $1.5 million worth of Ghost token, GHST, is up for grabs for Aavegotchi holders over the next 8 weeks. And so the way it works is every 2 weeks, we do a round, we do 4 rounds. And if your Aavegotchi is climbing one of any 3 leaderboards, we'll take a snapshot on the end of the second week. And wherever you are on the leaderboard at that time, we'll determine how much Ghost airdrops to your Aavegotchi. And it literally goes to your Aavegotchi, not to your wallet. So like if you go and you look in your wallet at the end of 2 weeks and you're like, man, I didn't get any Ghost, go check your Aavegotchi and go to the pocket. And when you look in its pocket, you'll see your badges and all of that, but you'll also hopefully see some Ghost tokens stacking up in there. And so we always joke, it's like you have to take the Ghost away from the Ghost tokens away from your Aavegotchi. And sometimes it's hard to do. Like you feel like you're shaking them down for lunch money or something, but sometimes it's worth a lot more than lunch money. So it depends where you are on that leaderboard. It can get pretty wild. No Futuristic, you're pretty active on Gotchis in general. I'd say you're more of a volume guy. You've got a lot of farms going. You've got a lot of Gotchis. Do you have any that are like real killers on the rarity farming seasons?
I actually have 2 that are real killers. The one that you see right here, the one that is, his name is Music City GotchiGang. Usually he has a mythical wizard's hat. I actually have it up for sale because mythical floor for headgear is after 1800 jumps to like 3,000 ghosts. So I was like, swing for the fences, try to sell it and buy something else. If not, I'm going to re-equip. If I re-equip the mythical, I'm a top 200 on BRS, I think 198. And then my OG Gotchi, No Future, he's number 43 in XP. So that guy is like, once we get to the arena and XP matters, I'm just going to be bonking people left and right.
That is awesome. Yeah, that's where you want to get. You just start getting up to those numbers and you're farming in hundreds of dollars every round or something to that effect. So it's pretty cool to curve that. It's kind of like a world poker tournament kind of model where the top 10% are getting really big payouts, and then there's a super long tail that takes care of everybody for participating. So it's a pretty good model, and yeah, fifth season. It just keeps going. Although one little aside, something to talk to the DAO about. I think we're at a point where if we do season 6, the DAO should really come up with some new leaderboards. Let's shake up the meta a bit at a bare minimum. That's my personal take on it.
100%. I totally agree with that. We should, it's time for a shakeup. You know, we've had 5 Aavegotchi rarity farming seasons, which have served us all quite well, especially if you're ranking up there like no future, because you're earning this, decent amounts of ghost, which then I personally, what I like to go do is go buy some wearables or kind of level up my Aavegotchis. And so that way you're getting ready for the next rarity farming season and climb the leaderboards that way. So that's been my strategy so far. But I'd be totally game for a shakeup and try and gamify it a bit more. Now we have the Gotchiverse and other moving parts. We got the Forge. They've got another couple more features now on the protocol that we can play with for sure. Totally agree.
Yeah, it's funny because, like you were saying, you get your rarity farming rewards, and they go directly to your Gotchi's pocket. So you go in, you take it out. But I feel like my Gotchi's a little stern about me using its money, so it almost always goes into buying it something. So it's almost like, I get my rarity farming season rewards. It's Black Friday. I got to go shopping. Because if I go and spend it on something else, my Gotchi's going to go from like inseparable to scorn pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It really is. It's a different feeling than if it was just you woke up and it was in your wallet. It's totally different. So it's your Gotchi's ghost. But yeah, that's why I tweeted out the other day, because with rarity farming starting, it's always a good reminder. We say it and we mean it. If you take care of your Aavegotchi is going to take care of you. So there's multiple levels to that, but getting paid in rarity farming is definitely one way. I just pulled up some friends to the stage here. So we've got Johnny back in the saddle, Johnny Metaverse, and really excited to have you back, sir. I think you're going to be bringing the knowledge of exactly what we need for this topic today. Polygon NFTs exploding, Polygon going to the next level, and everybody going with it. So you are on the pulse with Magic Eden, and you know exactly what's coming up and what's going on over there. So looking for some insights there today. And then we've also got Jordan on stage. Jordan, I've recently got to know and am a big fan of. Just one of many examples of how awesome the Utes crew is, and just so open-minded and wanting to basically get to know some of the OGs of Polygon and get to know, more about what we do. It's like I love Jordan's curiosity, and also we today can take some time and flip the script because, I'm running around crazy all day, every day. I also want to know the story behind Utes and what's going on over there, and really just make this a big proper mixer. So I think Jordan's perfect to do that. I see Dimitri in the crowd and anyone else that wants to come up. If Frank wants to come through, everyone's welcome. So yeah, this is gonna be a really good time. But yeah, let's kick it off and start with Johnny. We haven't caught up for a couple weeks. We're both running around doing our stuff. And I think since we last talked, you're officially, I think your profile says Web3 Cowboy for Magic. What's the scoop there?
Yeah, man. No, it's kind of been an interesting journey. It was really brought on just to do some Twitter type style content, make sure we were really hitting the Polygon demographic. From there, it's kind of scaled really just overall onboarding and just really helping nurture the Polygon ecosystem as a whole, which has been a lot of fun.
No, that's huge. That's huge. So you're with Magic Eden in terms of you're talking to the team every day. You know what's going on over there, and I think that's where the alpha is. So when we think about why NFTs are exploding on Polygon, I mean, you guys are in the room. It's because Utes came over, Magic Eden came over, and in a big way. So I know Magic Eden is also on Ethereum, right? It's super multi-chain at this point. But what's the story with Magic Eden and coming over to Polygon? Do you see it like I do, where that's a big reason we have so much energy going on and so much momentum for NFTs right now? Or is it all Starbucks?
No, I definitely don't think it's Starbs. As much as I am a big Starbucks contributor, as I definitely amount to a good bit of their market share. No, I think I would say Magic Eden's had a good cause in the growth, but I don't want to take away from each individual creator itself, right? I think the creators have done a phenomenal job. Projects are getting better on Polygon. Me having been in the Polygon NFT scene since 2021, I think we've seen a huge leap in terms of the development of what projects were put out in 2021 in comparison to now. So the bar has definitely risen. So I think that's been a positive effect. I think some of that is from Utes. So I think Utes and Magic Eden coming over caused creators and communities to get a new breath of air. And from there, it's been an overall effect of just pure beauty. It's been so much fun.
Yeah, good point. And so, really the key difference, with Magic Eden seems to me to be just there is this aspect of community around the platform itself. So I love OpenSea. I've probably done more volume on OpenSea than any other platform other than Aavegotchi's own Bazaar marketplace. But I don't really feel like I'm bonding with other open seers, or I don't even know, like there's just like I don't personally have that connection with others there. Whereas with Magic Eden, I get this sense, especially since they've come over to Polygon, I'm much more aware of it. I wasn't paying attention before, but there seems to be a huge social aspect to it. And so Magic Eden seems to be doing a lot of things right. If there was like one thing, what do you think is the secret sauce of Magic Eden?
I think you just hit on it, man. I think community is so key for NFTs, right? As a whole, like we live in a very content-driven economy, consumer economy. In that fact, you have to have content, and content is created through community networking. And I think Magic Eden has a very hands-on approach. Like the team is very approachable, very engaged with whatever ecosystem it is that they're a part of. And I think that is like a huge reason of like the secret sauce, is just like being tapped into community. If you don't listen to your community and your consumer, whether you're an NFT project, a marketplace, or a brand, you're not going to succeed. And I think that's where Magic Eden really does like separate themselves and is successful.
Hell yeah. And let's hear from Jordan, who we invited here today because we want to hear about Utes. And correct me if I'm wrong, starts on Solana. They do a ton of volume on Magic Eden. So you guys know Magic Eden very well. And anyway, first, Jordan, just really happy to have you on stage, man. I saw your tweet. You got your Gotchi up and running. It looks beautiful, by the way. And yeah, what's kind of, I mean, we could start a lot of places, but just what's your journey to discovering Utes and then also Magic Eden?
Hey yo, thank you for having me. So, oh yeah, dude, I just gotta really thank you, man, for considering me for the space tonight. Super happy to be here. So, been a Solana maxi for a while, and I was kind of looking for a community that I can elevate my brand with. And I was kind of bouncing around from different communities, was rocking different ones for a while, but I always noticed, man, like the Utes and the D-Gods were the place to be in terms of elevating your brand. Just getting started as a creator, it's really difficult to just kind of launch into the stratosphere on your own. It's a lot easier when you have a really strong community behind your back. And, I was saving up to get this Ute, and I got it. And it's just opened up a lot of doors for me. Definitely made me more recognizable on the timeline. And, just a big fan of what Frank is doing. I'm a true believer in him and the team, so I wanted to rally behind him and, just get into creating content. That was the goal for me. And I noticed a lot of creators, whether it be spread writers, video creators, animators, a lot of the talent resided in the Utes community. So I wanted that connection. And there's this kind of feeling, I'm sure you feel it with the Gotchis as well, when you get on a call with someone, it's like you both rock the same PFP, so you kind of instantly feel like brothers. Hope that gives some insight.
Yeah, for sure. And the part that, there's a few parts that stand out. I see some hands going up. We'll pull you into this real quick, though, is the creativity aspect. And that's what I've been hearing time and again, is just like we share a similar vibe in terms of these are very talented creative communities. And you do hear that a lot, but sometimes it's the core team that's creating dynamite art and creating an experience, and the community rallies around that. In other cases, it's a little bit more flat, and you see actually like strangers on the internet stepping up and making wild stuff around the PFPs themselves. And so I know with Aavegotchi, like Hefe could tell you more. We'll have to get into a little bit of dosing with the fake gotchis, but like that is such an area where creatives can get together and everybody has the same equal opportunity to create awesome stuff and put it on chain. So yeah, that makes so much sense, Jordan. And I see we got Dimitri on stage, as well as, let's see how to pronounce it. Creative Owls. So Creative Owls, so glad you guys are in the house here, Polygon fam. Yeah, could you jump in here? And I saw you wanted to react.
Yeah, I just want to say what's up to the team. And also what's up to Jordan and Johnny in here. But I wanted to kind of touch back real quick on the question that you asked Johnny, the Polygon NFT explosion. And I was wondering if I can hit that real quick, if you don't mind. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to pin some tweets at the top while you do.
Okay, cool. So just like Johnny, I started August 2021. Big shout out to Jack down there from Polygon Gaming. And when I came on the Polygon scene, there was a lot of projects that were coming out and there was a lot of PFPs. There wasn't a lot of one-on-one artists on Polygon at the time. Obviously, the big eruption came in the beginning of 2021, where there's only a few projects that actually survived. Zombies is one, Polygon Punks being some of them, and there's a lot of big PFP projects that completely rugged out. So for the last year and a half, the big generated one projects have been around with small communities, but it's really been like the one-of-one artists. Now, from the Polygon side, they were just focusing on gaming. It's, obviously it's Polygon Gaming. If you watch any of their weekly briefing or any of their Twitter spaces, it was 99% about games. It wasn't until Sandeep and thought leadership at Polygon decided to say, okay, how do we tie into the community? Thank God community has been around from Solana, and they were able to, pay them $3 million for them to come on chain. Because of that transaction, you saw Luke, you saw all the major thought leaders in BD turn to Solana PFPs. Because when you get thought leadership, the CEO and the founder, a part of a community, the NFT, that's going to push the NFT project through the roof. That's why we're seeing a huge explosion, because we're getting it more from our thought leadership. Not only that, but Polygon themselves have recognized that. That's why we saw a brand new website today from their site. They're trying to incorporate more of their community into it. But it all had to start with the leadership at Polygon. Really has where it really had to start. And that's where you're able to see Johnny do amazing things. That's where you're able to see Jordan create amazing pieces of content, because they know they're in those Telegram groups with Sandeep. They know they're going to get backed up on the content they create and the community that's supporting. But a year and a half ago, that was not available. So a lot of projects like myself, Polygon Punks, like even Zombies, we had to do it without a support, without a community. So that's kind of where the turbulence is. Now, Magic Eden, One Planet, those are all fantastic. Magic Eden is great because their UX and UI, they understand what the user wants to collect and what the user wants to see. So that's what good. But at the end of the day, last month, January, just January, OpenSea did 38% more sales. So it's not really about the marketplace. It's really about the market and how leaders are respecting the chains. So I just want to give you that perspective here today.
Yeah, well said. You kind of gave a lot of background here, and part of today's spaces is the history of Polygon NFTs and what's changed, because you can't understand what's changed if we don't know where we were a few months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, right? And so, yeah, it's definitely that's exactly it. There's a ton of momentum now, and we got to give credit where credit's due. It's a lot of what we're talking about today, but at the same time, there's teams like Aavegotchi or some of the ones you mentioned, Creative, that have basically bootstrapped from scratch. Although I will always give credit, we've got a ton of love and support from Polygon leadership from the earliest days. But I know what you mean. It's definitely a different vibe right now, and everything's rolling forward together. So Dimitri, I see your hand up. I'm going to try to get you. Oh, you're a speaker, so I think you're good to go, sir. Dimitri, welcome to the stage.
Hey, thank you, man. Thanks for having me up here. I see a lot of friends here. I mean, I can't name everyone because it'll take forever. But special hello and love and all that stuff. The Goobs gave me a crash course on getting my first Gotchi. He gave me a first crash course to get my first Aavegotchi a few days ago. He gave me an amazing resource, amazing links, all that stuff. I got to give a special shout out there. I mean, I just love his or hers availability. I've never spoke to you before, so I love your availability. Okay, but the point I'm here is going back to the whole topic of Polygon NFTs, I've been around this space since the chain launched, literally back in 2020, and I saw the evolution. And yeah, you know, back in the day, it was hard. You know, I don't think the market and industry was there yet. You know, like, you know, we did some stuff back in the day, like with Street Fighter and like all these things, and it was way ahead of its time. Let's be honest. And I feel like you looking back, you can judge and do all, you say whatever you want, but what I love is the adoption is growing. And one thing I want to mention regarding Polygon NFTs per se, I'm just super excited about gaming and NFTs in a game. You know, EC is coming up in March, one of the biggest gaming conferences out there. It's like top tier. And we're talking about all the top game studios. Forget Web3, forget the blockchain, just the all the top games. Like you gotta be there if you're anyone, right? And I love that Polygon Gaming will be there. I love that Dr. Disrespect, the #1 streamer, arguably out there, is, you know, is working with, you know, he has a company now. He's, you know, with Midnight Society, they're launching a game, Dead Drop, and I just love that there's NFTs right now on Polygon and with crazy utility. And I'm just curious to see how the outside world leverages this technology into mainstream. I feel like they're paving the way, and this is why I love Aavegotchi, because the utility Aavegotchi has, like alone when you said earlier, you know, when you receive NFTs or like all these goodies, they're not separate NFTs. It's in your Gotchi's pocket, right? And that's a special utility that you added. And I mean, the DAO, you know, all that stuff you guys came up with, all the utilities you guys came up with, it's super amazing, because now other projects can follow through and kind of try to, you know, you're literally paving the way in a way, right? You guys are OG in the space. So I'm super bullish. I love the way where things are headed. We have like the community NFT projects out there, plus the big tier game studios. So I'm really excited about that. I just want to share that.
Dimitri, I think you say it better than I could have said it. And so going back to what Creative mentioned, you led by mentioning the gaming focus of Polygon, and just, yeah, I mean, that's where Aavegotchi thrives, is we're right in the middle. Like we can be your avatar, your PFP, but we can also be your gaming avatar and be a game in and of itself. And so it's all on chain. All the artwork is literally written into the Polygon smart contracts. There's a lot of cool things we did that took extra time and effort, and have given us the longevity so that Aavegotchis, you know, they're not going anywhere. So when GDC comes around, and I think Polygon is a diamond tier sponsor this year. They're like up there next to all the biggest names. You know, they're going to be shining the light on all the people working hard and anything with NFTs and gaming. So the gaming side definitely has not gone away, and it really shouldn't. But like Creative said, you need that other side, right? That community focus is the other half of the equation. And so that's where we talk to, like, Johnny, you've been in Polygon forever, and yet you see the change, right? Like you see the momentum shift. And so, yeah, you can't point at any one thing, but one thing I thought we could get out of today, going back to Jordan here, and I see your PFP too, Dimitri, if you know the gig, we want to know more about Utes. And like, we could start with something simple. Like, I want to be able to leave the spaces knowing what that name references. Am I spelling it right? I'm going to play like super basic here. It's Y00TS, right? It's not two capital O's, right? So like, help me out here. So like, Jordan, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, sure. No, I know it's two double O's. From hearing Frank talk on Spaces, he mentioned that youth is targeted at the youth. So maybe there's a play on the word youth in youths, but it's like an in-depth meaning behind the youth name. I'm not sure. Maybe Dimitri can expand on it. But from hearing him talk, yeah, I just heard, targeted for the youth, etc.
Right, youth. Okay, cool. That totally makes sense. And Johnny, in terms of like how many youths do you have, and do you have any insights on what's going on with the because they're on Solana, right? How do you get them over to Polygon? I've started to see some of the youths are wearing Polygon like wearables, which is very interesting to me. I think that's like a second layer dApp. If you know about that, Johnny, I'd love to learn about how that works.
Yeah, so I do have some Utes up in the wallet. Yeah, no. So I don't know the date of their merge, to also say that. In terms of doing it, a good like reference point would be like Wrecked Gang. They actually like merged their NFTs in 2 stops. They were able to do that like very seamlessly, 2 clicks, and we're able to like move chains. So I think like the biggest thing that like I've heard Frank stress on is like making it a one stop, like 1 click and you move over, very like clean UX UI. You want to have like a very good experience for that. The last part of that question to me, the Utes booth is how they actually are able to do this with the Utes, which is, like you said, a second layer DApp, similar to that of like what Sappy Seals have done in terms of like meme generation, things of that nature. With NFTs being very content driven, Utes booth was able to do that with your Ute, where you can get your Ute in a Polygon hoodie or several other things. I saw they actually just announced football hoodies in honor of like the Super Bowl. So a lot of cool stuff going on that side. And like you guys know, it's all about like content creation at the helm of it.
Yeah, that's super cool because I mean, going back to Aavegotchi's, we love our wearables, and so like literally when you see like my PFP here as the Aavegotchi channel, it's a naked Aavegotchi, or as we like to say, a naked, and that's a 721 NFT. But if you start seeing like hats and glasses on it and all that kind of thing, then those are actually NFTs as well. So they're 1155s though, so a different format. And then you stack them together. So you're literally, when you see an Aavegotchi doing rarity farming, like no futuristics. I mean, look at that thing. It's got the Rasta hat, the shades, 2 martini glasses. That's literally like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 6, maybe more wearables stacked on top of his Gotchi. So you put it all together, he's actually rocking like 7 NFTs in his one profile picture. It's pretty crazy. And so when I saw that Utes had this kind of Utes booth, that just stood out to me as something that kind of resonated. I was like, I think they're aesthetic wearables. They're not probably affecting your traits. When we equip our wearables, it literally moves your traits to the left or right of the bell curve. So it's like you're boosting your traits to climb the leaderboard. But still, I would just love to get I was like, man, that's such a good idea. I want a Polygon hoodie. I want an Aavegotchi hat in there. Maybe it could match some of the stuff we're doing in ETH Denver, especially if you guys are going to ETH Denver too. We gotta talk about that. I know Magic Eden's going to be there. I heard that Liz and the gang might be shredding with some GotchiGang a couple weeks from now. So pretty jealous about that. But Jordan, I see your hand went up when we were talking about the Utes booth and everything. So you have some more insights there?
Yeah, the guys are actually from my city, funny enough, and super sweet guys. It doesn't like change the trait or anything, but what's cool is that they're constantly working with the community to make these traits, pretty relevant. And these guys are just really for the community, and it's super easy. If you want, I can pin up a recent tweet of theirs so you can get connected with them, and they're pretty open to collaboration. And I noticed that on their page, they haven't done an official collab yet, so it'd be cool if Gotchis were the first collaboration. So I'd love to put you guys in touch.
That would be sick. Yeah, let's see if we could do something there. I'd love to meet them, and yeah, if you're in town with them, you can even go down and have a coffee with them, I guess, on our behalf. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, that would be nuts because I was also thinking like when it comes to collaborations, the wearables are so cool. We've been able to do a ton of those over the last couple of years with Aavegotchi wearables. Like, I don't know, no futures. Can you think of any of our wearables that are like themed along with our partnerships or collaborators? Any favorites come to mind?
Yeah, the Coin Gecko one. Those look really cool. I believe they also have some Easter eggs, like when you rotate your Gotchi around, there's stuff happening on the back. The Coin Gecko ones, we have the ones, the Polygon ones. I tend to
uniquely
the collaboration ones. Yeah, uniquely, that's another one. The APY Vision one, the arrow with the body wearable. So those are a few of them that I can think of off the top of my head.
Those are all good. I agree. I think the Coin Gecko one's great. You get like the gecko headgear and the candy jar. I love the candy jar. So perfect. It fits our vibe, but it's so Coin Gecko at the same time. So yeah, definitely. We could totally if it went the right direction, that would so make sense where Utes is coming over to Polygon and we get some sort of, you guys would have to help us out. I know you guys are creative. We figure out some Utes like wearable designs, some themed Utes gear for the Gotchis to wear. And then vice versa, we do the Utes booth. That would be kind of awesome. That'd be a lot of fun. Dimitri, I see your hand up.
Sunglasses they're rocking.
Indeed, Jordan's sunglasses are wild. I want some of those on my Gotchi. Dimitri.
Yeah, so a couple of things. So yeah, Utes right now are on Solana. Yes, they will be bridge over 1-click UX, as Johnny mentioned. When the bridge goes live. So the last we've heard was end of Q1. which coincides with when ZK EVM goes live as well. So there might be some relation there. So, but I think you're right. So going back to Youth's booth, and by the way, I'm also from Montreal with Jordan, with Youth's booth. We're all from the same city. When coffee.
Yo,
So
go, man.
no beer. One beer, one coffee. Yeah. But I just want to say, like, Youth's booth, you have to log in with your wallet right now, your Phantom wallet, to confirm you're holding that Youth. And then all it does is it kind of just generates an image. It's not a smart contract. Like Aavegotchi is smart contracts, and it's on the contract levels, all the different attributes and items that a Gotchi can hold, right? And all the wearables.
Yeah.
It's a bit more advanced. Honestly, I think Aavegotchi, technically speaking, is one of the most advanced NFT utility out there as far as I've seen. And I'm a tech guy, and I'm really, really impressed. But going back to your point with Youth, honestly, I really think, like, Youth, they have like this thing on their website where you can create clubs and all that stuff, and there might be some synergies there where we can equip these Youths with like a staff or a hammer or like some kind of a gear equipment. Obviously, it's got to follow the narrative and story, and obviously Frank has to approve. But I definitely see some potential synergies, especially when Youths launch on Polygon, because when Youths come to Polygon, I can't imagine it'll be just a one-for-one transfer and that's it, right? I'm anticipating, and I don't know this, but I'm anticipating some kind of Polygon-related utility for the Youths down the road, right? I mean, it's not going to be just a boom, one-for-one transfer back and forth. I mean, I'm sure there'll be more to it. So I think there's opportunities, and I think they're pretty open-minded. So I'm really bullish about that. Yeah.
That makes so much sense. And so, first of all, you guys are all in Montreal. Holy cow, we got to see if any GotchiGang is in Montreal. Hefe, how far are you from there? Aren't you not all that far? You're up north as well.
Oh, I'm West Coast, so I'm on the other side. But if I'm ever on that side of the country, I'll be wanting to meet up. So
Awesome. And then in terms of they're coming over, there's, like you say, there's no way that they're going to come over and just like, oh, and that's it. Like, I'm sure this is Polygon, and Polygon to me is the utility haven for EVM, right? Like, it's exactly why Aavegotchi chose Polygon instead of deploying on Ethereum, because we could do all the things we wanted to do, and Ethereum developers are also Polygon developers. So they were still able to come over, have all that talent, but now you could do things like on-chain proof of attention, petting your Aavegotchi. You could deposit tokens inside your Aavegotchi like a digital piggy bank and withdraw without spending $10 to withdraw. So all that stuff you're talking about, Dimitri, like that's exactly why we chose Polygon. And I'm sure Utes and Frank, and they're all looking at Polygon and thinking similar, like, we can finally go to work here and do some really cool things with EVM. So that just makes a lot of sense. Let's see here. I think I got a few hands going up, maybe a few new people to bring on stage. And we got Coder Dan in the house. I'm going to invite Coder Dan here, see if he's available to hop up here. This is co-founder of Aavegotchi. So invite is sent.
Aavegotchi, I got a question for you, man. Yeah, so you've been in the Polygon community for a while. What is something that you've seen be a challenge over the last 12 months for a project, and what are some outcomes that you're seeing now?
So you mean a challenge for Aavegotchi, or like some of the projects in the space?
Maybe for just your community. How about that? Just like on the building, like getting new users, new people to play the game. Like, has there been any challenges with that, or you guys been kind of like smooth sailing?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll give you an example. We're building out the Gotchiverse, which is this browser-based metaverse, 2D top-down. It looks like old school Legend of Zelda dipped in microdosed in acid, kind of thing. And it's been going really well. And then we had some really innovative on-chain solutions to get adoption that we thought, okay, most of these NFTs, like even with Aavegotchis, we have 2 generations of them. Basically, we have just under 25,000 Aavegotchis ready. So we want mass adoption. We want everybody to be able to enter this world, and play with an Aavegotchi. But we put a cap. That's part of the deal with NFTs is scarcity. So we came up with this on-chain lending, and it's very powerful. It basically takes the sharing economy of like your Airbnb and Uber and applies it to NFTs. So you're able to go to Aavegotchi.com. You're able to say borrow a Gotchi, and No Futuristic will lend you a Gotchi. He's like got 250 Gotchis he's farming or something right now. I don't know, some crazy number. He's doing it at scale. And maybe you could speak more to this, No Futuristic, but to me, it wasn't the key to unlock mass adoption I thought it was. It's a piece. but like it's going to take more than that because you still have to do the on-chain clicks, right? You have to like do at least one or two of these on-chain transactions to get where you want to go. And so, you know, it needs improved UX. And we're what we're doing now is we're starting to make 2023 the year of adoption, where we say, okay, we've already figured out so much on chain that really still we're kind of like in a space of our own doing that. Let's make sure that we prioritize accessibility this year. And that might mean doing things that are more like what might be discussed at GDC. So, you know, the things that I think Dimitri's going to, you know, mentioned with Polygon going to GDC, I think that there's a lot of solutions that they're bringing to the table. They're not going to show up there and say, oh, you've got to figure out how to, you know, get a little bit of gas token, and then you've got to do this and that. I don't think that's going to be the way. And so we can have the best of both worlds, I think. And I think that's where we're trying to position Aavegotchi. It's on-chain maxi, but it's also going to be accessible to everybody. So that's the lock we're trying to pick. And perfect to add on to this, Coder Dan, glad you just hopped up on stage.
Hey, GM.
Yo, so we're having a good conversation here. Johnny's been giving us the lowdown on Magic Eden and everything going on in that side. And then Jordan and Dimitri dropping some knowledge about Utes and getting us up to speed. Yeah, just a good conversation all in all. Did you come in with any particular questions or ideas on your mind? Any announcements? Anything along those lines?
I just wanted to jump in and say hi to the crew here. And I was just thinking, as you were asking, like, what are some of the difficulties we've had? Kind of from a technical side, we have a new standard called the Diamond standard that we implemented. We were like literally one of the first NFT projects to use it and implement it, and now it's kind of blown up. A lot of NFT projects, a lot of games are using it. It's really cool tech. But we made a kind of a initial blunder that we didn't even realize at the time. We thought it was more kind of innovative or like cool, which is we put two NFT contracts into one contract. So we had our 721s and our 1155s in the same contract address, which turned out to be not a good idea because a lot of exchanges were just not open to supporting that, and it made it difficult for them to index our contracts and stuff. So that's one of the reasons that like we're not really big on OpenSea on Polygon. So we spent a lot of time fixing that, and I am happy to say that it has been dealt with. So we actually had to extract our wearables into a new contract and deploy that. So that's all done now, and I'm looking forward to getting Aavegotchi and the wearables and fake gotchis all listed on Magic Eden. You know, we've started having like a great line of communication with them. They're going to be really helpful. And so, yeah, looking forward to finally getting Aavegotchis listed on a major Polygon exchange.
Nice. Yeah, there's the alpha, and the reason for it. It just it wasn't practical up until extremely recently. So I think just seeing all this energy, you know, if you go back like 6 months ago, even maybe even less, more recently, and you went to DappRadar or any of the analytics tools and you looked at the landscape and creative, you could probably recognize this. Like the volume back in the day was so different for NFTs on Polygon compared to where it is right now. And so at the time, you had OpenSea deploying to Polygon, but it wasn't necessarily getting a ton of attention from them. I think from the community building side or outreach side or anything on that level. And so on any given day, you could go to the Aavegotchi Bazaar. You'd check in our marketplace, which is pretty self-contained. It's a bespoke marketplace just for everything Aavegotchi, was doing more volume. Like it was basically the number one, number two volume on Polygon any given day. And so we didn't really have the necessary, like we didn't feel that fire, like, all right, we've got to get on OpenSea tomorrow. Like we've got to invest the dev time and put the other stuff aside and go fix this thing, because our marketplace was doing us well. And it still is. And it is the perfect, like optimized Aavegotchi experience to go hang out there. But we've got to get Aavegotchi in front of more people. And it just makes sense that we should be able to, somebody like Johnny or Jordan, anybody coming into the space, as this has mega growth, they should be able to find discoverability, right? Discover a Utes next to an Aavegotchi, next to whatever else is out there that's doing numbers and bringing, you know, quality communities together. Otherwise, you have to do everything at Aavegotchi.com, and that's not the recipe for doing the justice for this really innovative product. You know, we put a lot into Aavegotchi, and it just doesn't make sense to continue to not be able to put it on other platforms as well. I'll go to, I see two hands up, Hefe and then Creative. So Hefe, want to hop in?
I was just going to quickly add there and say Aavegotchi seem to have an affinity towards exploring other blockchains. You guys started on Ethereum layer 1, I think. That's where the Aavegotchi initially started. But, you know, of course, we didn't have Haunt 1 until you guys came over to Polygon. And so we moved over to the Polygon chain. And some of our community members might remember, but we actually bridged some Aavegotchis over to, I believe, Rarible for a period of time. And you were able to sell your Aavegotchi on Rarible, which was on layer 1. And so I think there's that similarity kind of with the Utes now. That's kind of what I'm thinking is the Utes crew, you guys started out on Solana. That's where you guys launched. I'm kind of curious to know your experience starting out there, you know, maybe what marketplace the Utes launched on, and now you're coming over to Polygon. It sounds like Magic Eden will be one of the places that you'll be able to find Utes, right? Or maybe not.
Yeah, I think that's, I'm kind of assuming here, but I think Magic Eden will be the best spot to find them, but who knows, right? Maybe Jordan or Dimitri know.
I'll be honest, guys. I just bought the Utes a few weeks ago. I don't have a lot of experience on Solana. I'm from Polygon since they launched, so I'm gonna throw it to Jordan. But I think Johnny also is an OG and he knows. So Jordan, Johnny.
You're asking where to buy a Ute?
Yeah, is it like announced or clear yet? When they bridge over to Polygon, where's the action going to be?
Oh, I'm unaware. Johnny, how you doing, brother? You got that alpha for us from Magic Eden?
Hi, guys.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be smiling if I wasn't happy.
Hell yeah. So the assumptions are correct. Yeah. Johnny's all smiles. There we go. Cool. Let's circle back to creatives, and Hefe, real quick on your point. You're right. There's still a few Aavegotchis floating around layer 1. They crossed that bridge, and you know, someday they'll have to be like a whole story written about them or something. Maybe a DAO funded story like the adventures of the layer 1 gotchis. They're still out there. But yeah, to creative, we were talking about the marketplaces and all of that.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I think if Utes launches right off Magic Eden, that's a huge boost for the whole community and everybody that's on Magic Eden. So whatever happens, that's awesome. But back to what you were saying about OpenSea, like OpenSea sales back in like 2021 was pretty tough, and a lot of people were on there. And I think it's because buying Matic was a pain in the ass. I think there's like 50 people in the room. Do you guys remember we had to use like the Umbria bridge to like get our wrapped Ethereum over to like Matic and trying to explain that to people? That was the huge bottleneck to get people onto Polygon. Like the projects were there, but like explaining it to someone who was even in tech, and they're like, you're telling me I have to wait like 20 minutes before my money comes through. That was a huge bottleneck in like 2021, and for a lot of projects, and even for Polygon itself to take off, because we didn't have that capability in those type of layers. So 2021's like, it sucked. So if you guys remember the Umbria bridge, put it in the comment box. Let me know if you remember. But in 2023 now, Jordan can go on OpenSea, use his credit card, or Johnny can go on Coinbase, or Dimitri can go on MoonPay, and he can start buy Matic straight off the rip now. So that whole process has been completely streamlined. So that's what's also going to allow us for a lot more adoption. And for the marketplaces, it's going to be whoever provides the best community and whoever has the best UX and UI.
Yeah, very good point. I mean, I have a soft spot for the Umbria team. They did a good job helping us get some really fast bridging going at some point with the Ghost token. But I know what you mean. I mean, Coder Dan, you remember going back to, it would have been March 2021 when all the ghosts had to be bridged. That was scary.
Dude, if you've been around Polygon, like just getting people to do that process, it was just heart racing. And then people were trying to do it on mobile, which is even a harder experience. So just something to think about.
I'd also like to add, there was the thing, like, if you've been around long enough, we all remember the days when you could do transactions for 1 GWI. And although that was amazing, it actually worked against us because on OpenSea, most of the NFT degens from Twitter saw Polygon as scammy because it was so cheap and so easy to drop crap into people's wallets. So they were kind of worried about it. So it kind of was a headwind for adoption. And shout out to the Polygon team for making the changes to up the minimum GWI to 30, which removed a lot of the spam off of the network, even though we still have some of it because it's an effective network that's super cheap. So that definitely did have an effect in 2022.
Yeah, that's true too. That's a good point. I almost forgot about the upping the GWI minimum GWI there. Good point. I see Dimitri's hand up, and then we've also got Cool on stage here. So Dimitri.
Yeah, I just want to say, like, actually today speaking, the Umbria bridge is probably the better choice right now to convert your tokens. The Polygon bridge is heavily bombarded, it's kind of slow. Sometimes it's down because the endpoints are being DDoS, but it's going to change. It's being improved, right? Yeah, for sure. I'm a huge fan because it's a very nice way and quick way to convert back and forth your token. So I'm a huge fan there for sure. And the UX, speaking of the UX, you're right. It's been painful and difficult, but it's all over the space. But the improvements are coming, and they're constantly, like Sequence alone has an amazing wallet and onboarding UX, right, with like a nice non-custodial social buttons, very crazy, nice technology. So it's coming, and I feel like the improvements are there. We don't have the best UX. Like my wife will have a bit of a hard time, let's say, but it's much better than a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. That's all.
Yeah, I think what you're just to add there is a lot of what we're talking about isn't specific to Polygon. It's blockchain at large. But yeah, I actually used Umbria about 2 weeks ago to move some stables. We got to get a campaign together to get more liquidity for the Ghost bridge with Umbria because you can't do large amounts, really any size at all with Ghost right now. But they put Ghost in there really early on. You could start bridging it, and they what I love about them is it's so fast. You just crank it up and you're across in a minute. And that was the scary part. Like if you're waiting 20 minutes, it's quite intimidating. And so a lot of that is going away now. And yeah, let's see what Coolchick has to say. Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. I'm from the Psycho Kitties versus the Mad Hares. That is our game that is getting ready to come out, and we are migrating over to Polygon. I tried to follow all of you, but my Twitter is messed up right now, and it will not let me follow people. It won't let me retweet. I don't know what's up with it. I think I heard someone else saying they were having issues, but I've been trying to get into the Polygon spaces and Magic Eden and find out the different platforms and different projects. We are going to start a weekly space where we want to try to invite some other Polygon projects as well into the space so we can get to know more of the community, know more about your games, your projects, and and we'd like for you to hear about ours as well.
That's perfect. Yeah. I feel like that's what it's all about, is connecting. So you said you're bridging over, and cool. Where are you guys bridging from? And we'll make sure to follow and check it out.
Okay, so right now we are on the crypto.org chain, which is on crypto.com only. We already do have the Gen Qs on Polygon already. They are some of those listed on OpenSea as well as crypto.com. The Mad Hares are getting ready to mutate, and those will, sorry about my dogs, those, if you hold a Mad Hare, you will get one mutated Mad Hare with the option to upgrade that Mad Hare, and those, I believe, will be dropped back into our wallet on Polygon. So next will be the Psycho Kitties, because they're two different projects, but it's always been the Psycho Kitties versus the Mad Hares. They're like time traveling, fighting cat and rabbit theme, and they've got a whole story behind them. You guys can check them out anytime, Twitter sites or the web pages. And as soon as I can, I'd love to follow some of you guys. I don't know. Twitter's being weird to me tonight.
We'll have to call Elon Musk. It always happens, this stuff. So we appreciate you coming through and making us aware of this. It's all about raising awareness so we know what everybody's doing. So I will be following from my personal, and then definitely reach out and follow everybody here and follow back. We've got about 5 minutes left, and then I have to close at the hour because I've got a hard stop with, I'm really excited, guys, a little alpha, the head of division for Unity developers for all of Southeast Asia. Got a call with them in 5 minutes. So that's pretty exciting. It's a bit adjacent to the GDC news that Dimitri was mentioning. And if you've seen we published at blog.aavegotchi a bit of an update about our vision for 2023. There's some alpha in there and something other than the Gotchiverse. We're going to keep, of course, developing the Gotchiverse, but when it comes to this question of accessibility, we have a certain separate product that takes the Aavegotchi IP and puts it in front of people in a very accessible way, and we'll be building with some Unity on that. So super excited for where that's going. So I want to turn it back to our guests for the conclusion here, and my co-hosts, No Futuristic, Hefe. We've got kind of, the table set for what could be an incredible 2023 for Polygon NFTs. And I'm wondering what the next, narrative or next catalyst is going to be for this explosion. Is it, based on this conversation, I think it's going to be, that does happen. I guess the end of Q1 is kind of the ballpark range, and the way they do it, I think, will be really important. It needs to go well. It needs to be smooth and really well thought out. And so, like Dimitri was saying, I hope that there's and I'm sure there is, they're thinking about the follow through, and it's not just a one-to-one and done. So that's going to be a big part. And then everything Magic Eden's doing, is there anything on the Magic Eden roadmap we should be aware of, Johnny, that hasn't been discussed today? And then I think before we get to that, just the third thing is, of course, Gotchi's going to be bringing our best to the table and trying to deliver a super exciting 2023 with some surprises for everybody. But yeah, Johnny, real quick with Magic Eden, what's the priorities for the year? And is there any kind of updates or anything on the horizon we should be aware of?
Well, I don't know about for the rest of the team, but for myself, priority is Polygon. It is to grow this ecosystem through and through. So in terms of the team that I directly work with, it's really Polygon. Let's grow this ecosystem. Let's develop the culture. Let's grow this community. And being supportive of creators, whether you're a content creator or a creator of a project, being there to booster you up, support you in whatever way, onboard projects through our launch pad, offer pre-mint, post-mint support. That's a big thing. Also, I do want to say, thank you for having me on this panel. I've been a fan of Aavegotchi since launch. I remember my personal project, so many members of the community, shilling me Aavegotchi. So I've been a fan for a while. So I did want to say, I genuinely, this was a slight fanboy moment, when you DM me and offered me to come on. So it's been super cool being here, like I said. So super dope. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, building along all the people here. But on the Magic Eden front, I guess the biggest thing you could expect is just supporting of creators through and through, figuring out the best ways to tap in and grow out this ecosystem. And that's really where I'm having a lot of fun, is just fitting in where I get it and, making this thing boom.
Well, I appreciate the love, man. It goes both ways. You've done so much to advocate for Polygon and especially the creatives, which is something Aavegotchi and GotchiGang holds very dear. We're a gang of creatives at the end of the day. It's a DAO of people that are creative and want to have an impact, whether it's through music, art, or technology. And so maybe we leave the last thought here for Coder Dan. Actually, we were lucky enough to have Coder Dan come through. And so Coder Dan, just, what do you think for the year ahead? Is there something that resonates here that we should pick up on again in the near future?
Yeah, man. I think the theme for this year is just going to be bridges, right? We got Utes bridging over from Solana. We got Aavegotchi bridging over to our own chain, the Gotchi chain. And we also just have community bridges. We got Aavegotchi meeting with Utes. We got all sorts of different communities bridging together and meeting each other, becoming interoperable with each other on Polygon. And so, yeah, I think for me, the theme of this year is just bridges.
Yeah, I think that's really well said. And that's what's going to lead to the next explosion of this ongoing Polygon NFTs explosion. We can just see the the groundswell here, and I don't think it's anywhere near finished. We got to get to that next level together. So thanks everybody for coming out today. Thank you to my co-host. Thank you to my guest, Jordan, Dimitri, coming through, bringing the knowledge, lots of insights, creative as well. Want to have you guys back. We do this every week at this time, and we always pick a theme that applies to more than just Aavegotchi. We want to learn and build those bridges. So hope to see you all again next week, same time, same place. Big love, everybody. Hugs, and we'll talk soon.
Later, friends.
Later, everybody.
If you're new to GotchiGang, come by on Saturday in the Discord. We have the GotchiGang Hangout 9 a.m. Eastern. I believe that's midnight or 2 p.m. UTC. Definitely swing by. I want to hear from you.
Great point. Should have said that earlier. Everybody come through every Saturday, 2 p.m. UTC. Come hang. Cheers.